So you're sitting in a meeting and somebody says, we got to do a better job telling our story. We got to get our story out there. And they turn to you and say, go make that happen. You say, that's good. That's exactly what I'll do. And then you think, wait a minute. What is our story? Or maybe you're an individual and for some reason you need to tell your own story to the world and you think, wait a minute. What is my story? So what do? You go online and you type in how to find your story. And you get here, right? So it's a good question. The first step you take is a step backwards because what you want is a perspective. You want to be able to tell a story that tells where you've been, where you are, and where you're going. So first thing to know is this. You're looking for 3 parts in that story. Origin, impact, and vision. Origin stories are really important. And there's something that a lot of individuals and organizations tend to overlook. They zip past them or they brush over them. Sometimes you go to a website of some company and it says our story. Oh, you click on the story. It's not really a story. It's maybe a couple dates and then a lot of bragging. Or maybe it's background. But it's not that story. The origin story takes you back to a moment, an instant, when an organization was born, or for an individual, when something was discovered. And that's a really important moment. There's tremendous power in the words in the beginning. So what you want to do is be able to go back to that time and that space and find a time when someone wanted something. That's what makes a story go forward. Someone wants something. You find that and then you make it real, and you make it real with sensory details. Back to that place, the smell, the time of day, the appearances, the weather, the tastes, the touches, the feelings. When you create all that and make it real, you have an instant. And if you can convey that instant when your organization was born or when you yourself discovered something, then you've got an origin story. And that gives you roots. So that's origin. What about impact? The question is, what do you do? Someone asks you that question, and if you have your impact stories together, it's very easy to answer. If not, sometimes you end up reciting a mission statement with a lot of acronyms and numbers, and then you really have an impact story to work on. In fact, there are lots of impact stories. The trick is this. You have to choose. Do you describe the tree or the forest? Usually what happens is people split the difference and end up describing foliage, which doesn't quite capture what they do. So I think the best way to really get an impact story is to think about the effect that your work has on one person, one individual, how you're meeting their need, how you're changing their life. And if you can really go and show that person, you might begin to understand what they want. Because remember, what somebody wants is what drives a story forward. What somebody wants and someone needs. And then you make the situation real. Using all those sensory details, give us a sense of their life and how your product, your service changed and affected them. Once you begin to get that and show us the impact on one person, then you can zoom out and we can start to see the bigger picture. And when we get the bigger picture, we get a sense of a multiplying effect of how broad your work is, who you serve, and what you do. Vision. The vision thing. This is where a lot of leaders stumble, where a lot of organizations fail, conveying their vision. And when someone has a vision, and it comes through the words they speak, you can hear it. If you listen to the speech of Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King, you hear the power of that vision, I have a dream. It really touches you because it's solid, it's from the heart, and it's genuine. And you hear a fake vision and it just sounds like tin. Now, sometimes you take that vision, and if you were to just print up on a greeting card, I have a dream, it's going to sound flat and cliche. But when you find your real vision, it's true and it's solid. And the funny thing is, it usually sounds simple, but getting to it involves a long journey. And it's that journey of discovery you have to take if you're going to really come up with a solid vision. Now, I will say this, if you find you're having trouble with conveying a vision, you probably have a problem in the origin. Because whatever started you in the beginning, that spark, has to be connected to the vision. There's a through line from origin through impact to vision. So look back, find what that spark is, where you began, and figure out what it has to do with where you're going. And somewhere in drawing the arrow that connects those dots, it'll point you to your future. So, origin, impact, vision. Get those three kinds of stories together, and you're in business. The process takes some time. Don't try to rush it, and have fun with it. I remember whenever we would drive past a street sign that said "Slow, children at play," my mother always used to say, "Can't those children play any faster?" So, take your time. Play with it. Let the ideas come, and find somebody who's a good listener to help you draw those stories out. Sometimes you might know someone who's just a great listener, who will hear you tell your story, who will let you play with it, because you have to be able to explore your story in a way that lets you go down a lot of dead ends, comes up with things that you don't really want to tell anybody about. But you can explore and then decide what you want to take forward. If you want, you can hire a story consultant, lots of us around, or just find somebody. But when you get that story, it's a treasure. And it's something as malleable as gold. Something you can bend and stretch and use that will last you for the rest of your life. Have fun with it.